Childhood obesity at an all-time high. More than 20,000 children set to leave primary school classed as dangerously obese this year. So, would you tell a friend if you thought that their child was heading that way and was overweight? Tina Malone, who has done exactly this, and presenter and dad of 4, Jamie East, who says, who are these people who tell other parents that their children are overweight?
Absolutely tap.
You're sitting next to one. So, Tina, you have done this. Yeah. What happened? And how did you address it?
I mean, I'm not talking about shaming somebody.
No.
And I would never, ever approach a child, because if your child is overweight, that's your fault. You're to blame. I was never a fat kid. I was a fat teen, 20-something. So I couldn't blame my parents. That were my own issues.
And
but
you
lost
a lot of weight, didn't
12
you?
12 stone, 4 pounds I've lost.
Goodness me.
But I told a friend of mine about 5 years ago that her child was overweight, and I said, listen, life's difficult as it is. She's going to be a teenager. She's going to have problems, be body conscious. I'm not saying that, we should make something really, but I said you need to teach her about healthy eating and keep off the snacks and the drinks, the fizzy drinks.
What was her reaction?
She distanced herself. She was annoyed. She was upset, and it did go.
Was she overweight too, the mum?
Not as overweight as you would think. I mean, I know people are predisposed when they've got huge parents. I didn't come from a fat family, and I ended up enormous. So, I do think you should tell somebody. I don't think you'd have to. I know you're going to say, well, why should you tell somebody how to parent? But we're talking about health, we're talking about longevity, and people ending up with type 2 diabetes like
Jamie,
I did.
In our survey, we found that dads are more likely to tell a friend that they think their child's overweight. Almost 3 in 10 of those we asked have done so, compared to just over 15% of mums. So dads apparently bolder.
I don't know who these people are.
I don't.
I mean, I have to say, a parent should have noticed this by now, unless they have a severe problem themselves. They'll have gone through, my kids, my youngest son yesterday, they had the nurse in at the primary school who do the height and body and weight check. They're sent letters from the school telling them what their child weighs and how that relates to their height and health. So you have doctors, you have schools, you have teachers, and you have, let's face it...
Some schools aren't run as efficiently as that, though, in inner city areas, and people don't very often. If they have 4 or 5 children and they live on, and they're stressed and they're working, they don't read those letters. Unfortunately, a lot of it is about education. I get what you're on about. You're a father of 4.
And maybe you might dismiss officialdom.
What do they know about my child?
But then you're just living in complete denial.
Do you think it's wrong to tell your friend? Do you think it was... I would be insulted if my friend said your child's overweight, because I would then think, well, I'm obviously blind.
Would you?
But I would tell a friend.
No, I wouldn't. No, because
you wouldn't feel it was wrong.
Oh no, sorry, I would feel it was wrong to tell you, because it's
Why though? You're helping you. If you've not noticed it, there's something lacking in you.
It's a completely thankless task.
But it's like telling your friend her husband's having an affair. Would you do it? I would. I'm that kind of person. So even at the loss of losing a friend.
Do you have an age, Tina, where you wouldn't go below? Because you sometimes, you can get sort of toddlers that are...
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So do you have a sort of thing in mind?
I've got a 2-year-old granddaughter and a 4-year-old and a 37-year-old, so I know the difference.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I do think when they get to kind of 6 or 7, we're talking about obesity being a huge problem nowadays. I do think it's to do with the fact that they're sitting in, we wrap them in cotton wool, they're on computers, they're not out playing. We were thrown out with games.
Jamie, I wonder if it's different. If we're asking the question, would you just cold go up to a friend and say your child's overweight? Or is it different if your friend came to you and said, I'm a little bit worried? Do you think I've got a reason to be worried?
If they take the first step, then the floodgates are open and all bets are off. You can get stuck in. But,
But if you saw your friend...
Snitches get stitches,
But if you saw your friend giving a child every day cans of pop and snacks, and the child was sitting watching TV.
They are not going to listen to
vastly
you.
overweight.
They will not listen
Would
to
you
you.
not point it out though and say, listen?
We might
don't
point
you
it out
think you
by
should-
example.
Why don't you try and give them water instead?
They're drinking a
Or-
Coke, your kids are eating a cucumber.
I
you know,
still
one of those.
think. I know,
Yeah.
but some people,
That's
you know,
really
you
gonna-
can.
that's
you
really
can
gonna
some people
inspire
can
them.
hit them with a lump hammer and it doesn't, you know.
I wouldn't
get
do that
out.
either, to be honest.
Well, Tina, I think you're pretty brave, frankly. And your
I'm just
friend,
honest.
but your friend actually came back to you,
A
didn't
few
she?
years later and said you were right, and those problems that I envisaged have occurred.
So she thanked you ultimately.
But has she
Well,
fixed them?
she's fixing them.
Yeah.
Right.
But
They didn't
it's
work in
created
it.
problems
So it
for
made
a
no difference
teenage
anyway.
girl.
They still didn't listen.
For a teenage girl, it's created problems. No, because she did what you did. Went,